the coming insurrection. I think we're here. We're getting awfully darn close. Look at the things that are happening right now and the things that we said would happen and would all start be playing into each other. This No Kings event next week, I'm looking into it here. I mean, Jason, I know you and the staff have been really looking into it. But June 14th, this is it. In America, we don't do kings. And on June 14th, we rise up. And this is headed by Randi Weingarten, who is, strange, the head of the teachers union. Why is she so passionate about all of this? I wonder. Anyway, she on Monday, they're going to tell their governments and the communities, no kings. Because what is happening, according to Randi Weingarten and this group, is that Donald Trump has defiled our courts. Really? The ones who... Wait, weren't you guys just trying to pack the courts? Defiled our courts. Deported Americans. We haven't deported a single American. Have we deported a single American? Disappeared people off our streets. What the hell does that even mean? I know what it means. We're not doing that. Attacked our civil rights and slashed our services. I wish they would have slashed our services. Corruption has gone too far. No thrones, no crowns, no king. On June 14th, we rise up. What do you suppose that is going to look like in the midst of everything else that is going on? If you weren't for revolution, you would say, guys, we've been working on the No Kings thing. Let's just hold off a little bit because we have California, LA going on. It looks like it's starting to spread. Now it's going to be in Boston, New York, Dallas in last night. Let's just hold off on this because we don't want to have, another event where we've got 150 cities and these events going on, and we're not at every event, so we don't know who's actually organizing it. Let's be very, very careful. Let's take a breath here. They're not responsible people. That is not their goal. To do reasonable things. Their goal is to create as much chaos as possible. I told you beginning in 2008, look, the operative word for the future, the one word that you're going to need, because it's going to describe almost everything, is chaos. And anything that brings more chaos on the street is not a good thing. Stay away from people who are preaching chaos. Law, order, constitutional principles and principles that we find in the gospel of Jesus Christ, those things run to. Everything else is going to be a real problem. And isn't it amazing how all of these things are just suddenly, spontaneously, all erupting? We did a show, how many weeks ago? 5 weeks ago, where we said, what's your goal as a Democrat? Because you don't get elected on these things. You don't get elected by causing more chaos, by saying, hey, we're for the murderers and rapists. You don't get elected. The people are not for these things, and you're seeing it in poll after poll. And in that special, I said, unless that's not your goal, unless your goal is chaos, now is the time to strike. And look where we are right now. I have to say something about Dave Ramsey here for a second. I know this seems like a non sequitur, but it's not. The pro-Israel event that I was just telling you is being canceled in Dallas. There was one in Nashville, and Dave is in Nashville, and it was canceled for the same reason. Dave apparently has a large compound and could have 1,000 people or 1,500 people at his place, and so he hosted it. And took great risk. And hats off to you, Dave. I've been sitting here thinking, after I read that, I was sitting here thinking, can we put that many people into our studios? And I just don't think we can. But my gosh, there's a guy who's standing up for what he believes and putting his money where his mouth is, putting his safety where his mouth is. And thank you, Dave Ramsey, for doing that. You're a great man, truly a great man.
Greater than you, apparently, because he could pull it off, and you couldn't.
Apparently. Yeah, well, I've worked with too many wusses. They'd be like, Glenn.
I don't know. I'm in Dallas right now. Where are you? Interesting.
I'm in an undisclosed location.
It's probably the smartest place to be these days.
I was going to say, I'm smart. I'm up in the mountains, where really, if you haven't thought about it, maybe you should consider it. I'm just saying. Let's see. What else haven't we hit yet, Stu, that is important to get in before we lose our national broadcast time?
That's a good question. We hit the how about Brian Stelter? This is a fun one. Brian Stelter he's out there making sure you understand these protests. First of all, he wants you to make sure you know. Well, not you, Glenn. His friends that are texting him. He wants them to know that he has come on TV and said it's just a very small slice of Los Angeles. Most people in Los Angeles are going about their business absolutely normally. Their lives are normal. They're unaffected.
That's insight I couldn't have gotten from anybody else. Wait, so you're not saying every person in Los Angeles is on the streets?
No.
Wow.
I find that to be a fascinating thing because there's like a nice little I don't know, let them eat cake element to it, I like, which is just like, let those poor people get, hit with rubber bullets while we cheer them on from our wonderful Hollywood mansions. I love that element of like, don't worry.
It's just the plebes of society.
Yes. So he wants you to know about that. And like, look, there's some relevance to that critique generally in these moments, right? Like at times we do get news just cuts out the perspective that entire cities aren't on fire. I do remember being on tour with you one time, Glenn, and we were doing theaters across the country, and I flip on the news. It was MSNBC at the time, and I see a former cable news personality Rita Cosby. Do you remember Rita Cosby? She was on MSNBC for a few years back in the day. And I see her on a boat. She's on like a canoe. And she's on a boat and she's floating around.
Yes, I remember this.
And I'm looking at it. I'm like, where is she? She's on it's not in a river. She's on a street. There's so much flooding. She's on a boat on a street. And I'm like, oh my gosh, where is she? And I realize she is legitimately like a block and a half from my house. And
I remember you came in and you were like, I can't do the show. My kids might be dead. What do I help?
I'm texting my wife. I'm calling my wife. Like, what's happening? She's on a boat right by the house, and she was like a block and a half from my house. And I finally got my wife on the phone, panicked that like my house is going to be flooding. What's going on? What do we need to do? And she's like, oh. Well, I mean, there's kind of like a big puddle at the end of our street. Is that what she's talking about? And not only was there only flooding right there in this one period, which floods all the time. Every restaurant in our town was open. Everyone was going about their business normally. There was like one or two houses that were affected that are right on the water, right on the river where we lived. But that was it. But like from my perspective, watching it on MSNBC, it appeared my house and all of its belongings were going to be floating down the Delaware River at any moment. So there is some level of context and perspective that is important in those moments, but it seemingly only happens when you're trying to downplay the violence of a riot on the left.
Yeah.
And then today, Stelter's back on TV saying one of the big problems with all of this is Twitter and X, because what they're doing is echoing videos that could be, Glenn, you're not going to believe this, could be up to hours old. So, I mean, you can't understand
Unlike
an incident.
Television. Yeah. Unlike television
Unlike
that
television,
is running.
Everything's current.
That's running things from Friday and Saturday.
Right.
You know. It's up to hours old.
Could be hours old, maybe even a couple days old, Glenn. And that means you shouldn't care, I suppose.
Hey,
Go ahead.
Can I ask you, one of the shocking things that came out of what you were just talking about is that Brian Stelter is on TV. Who knew that was still happening someplace? But I want to ask you your question on that. Get your thoughts on this. Multiple people shot during D.C. Pride Parade after gay activists rejected security measures. Okay, have you heard about the shooting at the gay Pride Parade?
I have not, no.
Okay, that is odd to me, right? Isn't that odd?
Right.
There's a big gay pride parade. Shooting took place in DuPont Circle, a site traditionally used by the LGBTQ plus community, leaving one male injured, according to the Washington, D.C. Police Department. Shooting has occurred. Police also alerted citizens of a stabbing that took place in the same area, which left 2 male victims suffering from stab wounds. Okay, so why haven't we heard about this? Because you would think that would immediately be turned into, see, look, the gay pride parade, they were told they needed security, and they said, no, we don't need security, we're proud. And then, nothing happened except some right-wing extremists came out and were stabbing gay people and shooting gay people.
Did the wrong shooter commit this crime? Is that what has occurred
When has
here?
that ever stopped them? When has that ever stopped them?
No, it's true though, but that's the only thing I can think of, right? I mean, certainly if a right-wing group decided to target a gay pride parade, it would be literally the lead story for months.
For months.
So it has to be
for months.
Either just some general street crime, which wants to be ignored, or it was somebody else.
It's got to be street, just regular street crime, because that's crazy. By the way, the global gay pride parade that was apparently happening someplace here in America, and it happens every year someplace globally, and this year it was America's turn, and they're saying that the turnout was about a third of what they expected. Apparently not so much pride in the gay pride parade this year, I guess. I don't really know. I don't really care, quite honestly. But I would like to blame it on Donald Trump, because we haven't received any kind of, official proclamation or any kind of presidential dictate on what we were supposed to do with Gay Month, with Gay Pride Month. And so I'm a little lost. I don't even have my tree up. Do you have your tree up? I don't know which flags to fly. I don't know when to fly them. I just don't know what parade to even attend right now. And it's a little disturbing. There is one other story that we haven't gotten to, and that is RFK Jr. has fired all 17 members of the CDC vaccine panel. Couldn't decide which one was worse, so he's like, you know what? All of them. And I would just like to say thank you very much.